Right guys, what is up and welcome back to a brand new video here today and another episode of my F1 2019 modded career mode here today for round 5 for the Spanish Grand Prix. Round 4 was at Baku. If you have missed it, then go click the link in the top right hand corner of your screen guys to go see exactly what happened in that race. But today we're here at Catalonia and this marks the start of the European season and I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully we can try and get some points back on Max Verstappen, who's been very dominant out of the gate so far this season. In terms of upgrades though, arriving into this race, we don't have any of our own on the car, but McLaren and Toro Rosso have brought some of their own. McLaren now the 4th quickest team on the grid, overtaking Alfa Romeo, Haas and also Renault, and Toro Rosso there closing to the midfield pack and also distancing themselves from Williams, who are in last place. But we're now going to move into qualifying, and in this session we went for 3 runs and the best one was actually the second run, so we'll stay on board for all of the action here in qualifying. But also just a small disclaimer for this video guys, I have been a bit ill the last couple of days. I've got a bit of a sore throat, so my voice is a bit off at the minute, so I don't know if you can tell, but if not, then I do apologise for that anyway, as we now jump into qualifying. And we're going to jump into our first run in this session. And to be fair, it was a good opening lap. The car was working well around here, and I felt pretty damn confident. You can see here that unfortunately for us, we ran a little bit wide on my first lap, and I've got an invalidation, but I still have plenty of fuel left in the tank, so I quickly turned the engine down and also turned the ERS deployment down, and I'm going to take a very easy lap just to cool the tyres off, and then I went again with the exact same tyres for another lap. But here we just about avoid the contact, and also the Haas just about got out of the way in time for us to continue on with our lap. And you can see here currently we're about 2.5 tenths down on Max Verstappen through the second sector as we try and look to end the lap strongly here, going now into the final sector 3. We're getting a bit sideways on the exit there, but we're now going to end the lap and we're going to see exactly where this puts us in amongst the shuffle. And we go P3 of 3.5 tenths off Verstappen's time, and that is actually not too bad of a lap to be fair considering the traffic, but we can do better. So we're going to run on board for a full lap on what was my best lap in qualifying here in Spain. So let's see how we got on for a full lap of the Catalonia circuit. And there we go across the line, and we just miss out by an absolute fraction, 0.026 behind Verstappen there, and we couldn't quite beat him. And unfortunately on my final run, traffic was a problem here, as you'll see into turn 1, the Mercedes getting right in the way and just not moving. You know, it cost us time. You can see the delta, we have to get off the gas. I'm not flat out through here, and by that time I lost half a second by the time the Mercedes got out of the way, so I had to back off and give up. Eventually Verstappen also managed to improve by a little bit more on his lap, about 1/10 of a second of an improvement, and yeah, I think I could have maybe beaten the lap, but it would have been really, really close. I would have needed an absolutely spectacular lap to try and beat him. But the pace seems to be good around here, and we are quite similarly matched. Also, elsewhere, Kvyat P3 ahead of George Russell, which is good news for us in terms of the Constructors' Championship. And the top 4 covered by 2/10 of a second. A really, really close session here today. Then we've got Charles Leclerc P5 for Haas, good result from him ahead of Perez in P6. Then we've got Sainz, Raikkonen, Gasly, Bottas riding at the top 10. And then in terms of those outside the top 10, we have Nico Hulkenberg in 11th for Renault ahead of Alex Albon. Then we've got Giovinazzi, Sebastian Vettel down at P14, and also Lewis Hamilton down at P15 as well. Disappointed qualifying from both of those guys, with then Magnussen, Norris, Ricciardo, Grosjean and Stroll rounding out the top 20. And that is your grid for the race for the Spanish Grand Prix. We're now going to move on to Sunday, and let's see if we can try and beat Verstappen one-on-one in race combat. Right, so here we are then on the grid in second place on the front row alongside Max Verstappen, and the target is to beat him here today, and we have to try our best to try and get some points back on the Dutchman. In terms of the race strategy in today's race, we are going to start on the soft tyres that we qualified on, and I'm going to go straight to the hard tyres and go for a one-stop strategy. I was thinking originally a two-stopper, but it seems like that's a much slower strategy, so I'm going to try and go for the one stop and go nice and long on the soft tyres in the first inning and go into the hard tyre and go to the finish. I know the hard tyre does last a very long time around here, and also fuel-wise we are running 1.5 laps extra fuel, so let's see if we can try and beat Verstappen. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we can, and try and outscore him because the championship needs to get closer. So let's jump into it and let's get racing here for round number 5 of the season for the Spanish Grand Prix. Right, here we go. Here come the lights as we build up the revs and get ready for the start of the race. Lights out and away we go. Good start from us. We get away pretty well for a change. Kvyat on the outside. He's going to try and look for a move on Verstappen. He's going to switch to the inside at the last minute. Verstappen under pressure. Kvyat looking for a move. It doesn't quite work though. Verstappen holds on to P1. He defends and holds on to his lead. We're going to drop down to third place, losing a position to our teammate. George Russell still behind us in the second Red Bull. But this is not ideal. Verstappen holding on to first place was the worst case scenario, but I couldn't have done anything else. I got a perfect start, but in that second phase, even though at full engine power, the AI just seemed to get a godly start, which I can't match. It's just impossible with these cars, at least anyway, with these fully maxed out cars. So we're going to have to settle for that. Verstappen already opening up a gap here and he's pulling away, so that might be the last we see of him here today, unfortunately for us. So I've got to try and find a way to get past Kvyat and beat Verstappen somehow on strategy. Hopefully he's not going for the same one as us. Either way, lap 1 draws to a close. We've lost the place and we have to try and claim it back. Oh, yellow flag behind. Seems like it's Kimi Raikkonen who's caused an issue in the Mercedes. We'll get confirmation of that in a minute. Hulkenberg out though, so it wasn't Raikkonen who retired. Hulkenberg in the Renault is out. Verstappen flying away.
Race officials have enabled DRS. DRS is now available.
We're starting to put some pressure on my teammate. DRS is now enabled, so we'll try and line him up for a pass on the very next lap down to turn 1. But we need to make progress here. Verstappen's running away with this too much already. Here we go through the yellow flag zone. There is Hulkenberg and his Renault. We're now going to focus on getting a pass on our own teammate here. If we want to get a good exit out the final corner, which we haven't quite had. I'm a little bit further back than last lap, so I'm not quite sure if I'm going to get this or not. It's going to be close. I don't think we are though. We're gaining on my teammate, but we're not really that close. Kvyat does go defensive, surprisingly, even though I was never really challenging him. Let's see if I can maybe make something happen through here. Looks like I can't. These cars are so fast now. You run out of straight very quickly. So we're going to have to sit behind for another lap. Nice and clean through there. I may have a chance if I can stay close through here, but getting a lot of dirty air. It's not going to happen. Let's try this one again. We are a bit closer this time. Kvyat does get some good acceleration, but we're more than close enough this time to get this move done. Here we go. Let's try and get past our teammate and take second place in this race. We're going to go to the outside and get him before turn 1. Around the outside we go. A little bit hot on the brakes, but we do get the move done. And we progress up into second place. What a difference. Without the dirty air, I can really feel the front end just ripping up again. But now let's hunt down Verstappen if we can. I don't quite have Verstappen's pace, unfortunately. We are pulling away from Kvyat. We're now second clear, but I don't have the pace on Verstappen. I need to hope he does something different with strategy. That gives me a chance. Okay, Verstappen pits. That's an early stop, which indicates it could be a 2-stop. Kvyat also pits. Russell stays out for one more lap. Yeah, we're going to be on the hard tyres, so it does look like I may be on a different strategy to Verstappen, which means we may have a chance of beating him here today. I'm definitely committing to this hard tyre strategy now, though. That's the only chance I have of trying to beat Verstappen. Hopefully he did go into mediums and he didn't go into hards. Okay, George Russell pits. So we're staying up front by ourselves. Pace is still relatively consistent, which is good. I'm either going to pit this lap or the next one. I'll see how I get on. We're going to go for one more. Verstappen's going to hit some traffic in a minute. Some of those medium tyre runners, which is going to hold him up a little bit. But we're going to box this lap. Yep, we are. Just to confirm it, we are going to go for the hard tyres and we're going to go to the end. Hopefully it pays off. Oh, Lando Norris out. Another retirement. Lando out of the race in the Williams, and ooh.
Virtual safety car. Reduce speed immediately and keep a positive delta.
VSC, will this last long enough that we can benefit from the pit lane? We'll see. I'm not quite sure, but if we do, it could be a good thing.
Drop your speed. Our delta is too low and we risk a penalty. Slow your pace immediately.
Let's pick up the pace here. Slow speed sections tend to be a bit slower on the RS. And also in terms of delta,
Pit now.
let's see. So far it's holding on.
Virtual safety car is ending. Maintain your pace until the green flag. VSC ending. Wait for green.
I thought it was too good to be true. Lost a lot of time right at the end there. Lost 2 seconds. The delta caught me right out. But we're going to box anyway. Here we go. Get it all slowed down. Right, here we go. We're probably going to lose places to Kvyat and Russell maybe, but we're going to be on the hard tyres going to the finish.
Complete. Go down.
2 seconds flat. That's a good stop. We'll take that. Let's see where we are once we get up to speed. There's Verstappen behind all this traffic. Russell's the next car, so Russell has managed to get past Kvyat.
Up to speed now. Let's get some heat into those tyres.
And there we go. We actually rejoined in front of George Russell. Kvyat has lost a heap of time. Not quite sure what's happened to him, but we've rejoined in what would be a net P2 going to the end on these tyres. I've got to try and push now whilst Verstappen's stuck in that traffic behind those medium tyre runners to make some progress and reduce the gap and the benefit of those medium tyres. George Russell behind us. He does have DRS in the Red Bull. He's edging closer, but I don't think he'll be close enough just yet to make a move, so that's good. We stay in front of Verstappen. Also hasn't made progress, so he's still in P4, which means we're gaining on him lap by lap, which is good. I think Verstappen's got damage. He's dropping back from the front 3. He doesn't have the pace. I wonder if he got wing damage trying to make an overtake. This could be a good chance for us to get some big points back on Verstappen if he does have damage. Russell's a little bit closer this time. He may go for a move. Let's see if he gets close enough. He's gaining on us. I don't think he is going to have enough on the straight. And we stay in front once again. I can keep managing this. These tyres, of course, are never going to fade because they're so hard. And they just got so much endurance. But we're now visibly catching up to Verstappen, who I can see is really struggling. So he definitely has wing damage. Let's try and repass him if we can and take a net P1 back. Here we go then. We're within Max's DRS range. Problem is, we're not in the best time for it. Verstappen will still get DRS on this lap, even though cars have gone to the pit lane. That's where the detection line was. But Verstappen's going to be in trouble because he has no front end downfall. So this is our chance to make a pass on him. Let's get nice and close down towards turn 1. Easy does it. Open up the line through 2. Now into turn 3. This is where Verstappen's going to really struggle for grip. But to be fair, he's not done too badly there. But we're now right in his gearbox, so we're going to try and prepare an overtake on him. You can see how much he's struggling. Dare I say, turn 9 to turn 10 may be our best chance, because he'll understeer a lot like through turn 9. Only problem is he gives me a lot of dirty air, so it's going to make it quite difficult. But here we go, this is my chance if I can get nice and tidy through here. I am struggling for a bit of grip on these. Stay nice and tight, there we go. Verstappen has no DRS. Can we get him into the hairpin? Right on the outside, having a look. No way through. On the switchback though, we get on the inside and we're going to go for it, and there we go. We send it on the inside. Verstappen has to back out and we take first place in this race. And we're going to the finish on these, remember, so it's looking good. Both Red Bulls still have to stop. Hopefully Kvyat, who you can see on the minimap, is actually catching back up now. He can maybe make some progress and catch back up to these guys. But we're going to try and pull away now and drop Verstappen out of the DRS range. Russell moves up into P2 and overtakes his teammate into turn 1. Took him a little bit longer than I expected, but he's got the move done. Kvyat is now in the back of these guys. Hopefully Kvyat can make a move for third place and try and hunt down Russell. Russell's got right back onto my gearbox as he's now released himself from Verstappen and he's got clean air. But I'm having good exits and I'm keeping it nice and tidy. Meanwhile, Kvyat has taken third place. So suddenly now it would mean we take the lead in the Constructors' Championship. And this is good for the championship for the drivers as well, as Verstappen will lose a bunch of points to all 3 of us. Okay, Russell's pretty close this time. I haven't had the best exit. Here comes George. We're going to defend the inside to make it a little bit trickier for him if we can. Down towards turn 1. We're going to hold the inside line. And there we go. Squeeze him off into turn 2 to keep it behind us. And that will hopefully feed him into Kvyat, who's slowly catching up to us. Ooh, that was not a good lock up. That's going to hurt me a little bit. I've still had a good exit though out of the final chicane, but that entry cost me a bit. Kvyat pits, as will Verstappen. Here comes Russell again. I don't think he's close enough. I don't think he's got his engine turned up. You can see the difference. He doesn't really get anywhere close to us, but I'm just guessing Verstappen would have pit as well, because that's what happened last time. So hopefully Kvyat can undercut Russell possibly. I'm going to hold up Russell for one more lap. Let's see if Kvyat can rejoin in clean air. That would be really, really good for us. Right, I'm expecting George to pit. Unfortunately, Kvyat hasn't rejoined in clean air. He's rejoined behind that same group as before. So we might have to make some overtakes. Either way, Russell's going to pit. So there we go. We're going to see him peel off into the pit lane. So we're now going to be out front by ourselves. I'm going to try and go for a personal best this lap in the meantime to try and challenge myself to do something. But let's see how this all pans out now. Carlos starts with a purple lap. 16.3. That's going to be hard to beat, to be honest with you. I tried to hold up George Russell on the last lap a little bit and it seemed to work. He has rejoined behind the traffic as we set a personal best. No, we are not, mate. We are going to the finish, but looks like those guys have been in traffic, and it's about a 6-car scrap, and this is all for position. Albon and Giovinazzi are on a net podium 2nd and 3rd place, so we'll let them go on with it, but it's looking good for us to win this race and cruise to the finish. 10 laps to go. Let's just bring this one home. 16.3 from Verstappen. Seems like he's got his front wing fixed and he's making progress. He's on the recovery and he's on the hunt, so we'll see where he ends up in this race. Okay, Russell's up to 2nd place. Kvyat's up to P3, and Verstappen has set 3 fastest laps in a row. Seems like he's still quite a way behind though, but at the minute let's see if Kvyat can get past Russell. That's the hope. He's just about within the RS range, so let's see if by the end of the race Kvyat is in P2. Oh, Hamilton's out of the race.
Virtual safety car deployed. Slow down and maintain a positive delta. Virtual safety car is deployed.
So 2 VSCs in the exact same race. This time Lewis Hamilton in the Racing Point retires from the Grand Prix. We're now down to 17 runners. There is Lewis on the left hand side as he retires from the Grand Prix here today. It does feel like the Red Bulls have a lot of pace, I can't lie, so I'm very glad if we bring this home for a race win. There we go, nice restart, nice and easy. No need to risk it, or speed. So there we go, back up to racing speed. These tyres feel pretty good now. They've kind of hit a nice sweet spot of tyre wear, temperature, and also just overall, fuel and pace, that I could just drive this all day at a relatively decent pace. Well, just had a little bit of fun, personal best. After the VSC, I thought I'd use up some of my fuel and ERS, getting myself into the mid-16s. Still about a second off what Russell can do, but just keeps the gap under control. Here we go then, making our way into the final sector. Good news is Verstappen hasn't recovered to P4 as of yet. I believe he's still P5 or P6. Russell is going to come home P2 for Red Bull, but it is going to be a double podium and a 1-3 finish for Ferrari, and crucially for us, it's going to be our first win since the first race in Australia, and the best possible way to kick off the European season. But here we go through the final corner, and we win at Spain. Grazie ragazzi, forza Ferrari, buon lavoro, grazie.
Fantastic. You won the Grand Prix.
Ferrari are at it again. An excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there.
Right, so here we have the final results then from the Spanish Grand Prix, and we win the race ahead of George Russell and Danny Kvyat, who's in 3rd. Russell avoids a throw 1-2 by splitting both of us and saving some points for Red Bull here today. Alex Albon P4 for Haas, and he finishes just outside the podium places. Max Verstappen P5 in the end after the issues, with Giovinazzi in P6. Then we've got Perez, Vettel, Bottas and Sainz running out the top 10. Both McLarens there scoring points here today. And then outside of the points we have Magnussen, Leclerc, Ricciardo, Raikkonen, Grosjean, Stroll and Pierre Gasly, with Lewis Hamilton, Lando Norris and Nico Hulkenberg, all 3 retirements here today in the Grand Prix. And in terms of the driver standings after that race, we closed the gap to Verstappen at just 5 points. And the next race is Monaco, and it's one that I'm really excited about and one that I fancy myself to try and get some more points on him in the Drivers' Championship. George Russell up to P4, overtaking Perez, Hamilton and Magnussen here today, and Kvyat holding on to that third place for now. And in terms of the constructors, we overtake Red Bull, and we now lead by 5 points after 5 rounds. So there we go, a good day at the office here today, and we turn it around and we get the edge on Red Bull. So that's good to see. But the next race is Monaco, guys, and I will see you all there. But for now, if you enjoyed this video, drop a like on the video and subscribe if you are new for daily Formula 1 content, and also turn on notifications to not miss any content from me. Also, finally, check out these 2 videos on your screen if you have missed them. But guys, that is it from me here today at Spain, and I'll see you guys in the next race for the Monaco Grand Prix. But until then, it's goodbye from me, guys.